Hello, my name is Muhammad and my metric number is 161284. I'll be explaining the introduction for this presentation. So the background of this case is it involves court judgment involving Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak, the ex-Prime Minister of Malaysia. It concerns allegation related to one MDB case. It has 4 charges of abuse of power, 21 charges of money laundering, and this document also explains the court findings at the end of the prosecution case, and I will be explaining what is legal ambiguity next. So, I'll be explaining what is legal ambiguity according to Solan in 2010. A legal ambiguity refers to a situation where a legal language can be interpreted in more than one way, creating a uncertainty about its meaning. There's multiple different meanings when it comes to legal ambiguity. It can be very technical and hard for a layperson to understand, and it is mostly present in the legal text, which are usually a complex legal sentence, not usually accessible by a layperson. You need a professional to help you understand a legal text. That is legal ambiguity. Hi, so how does legal ambiguity cause confusion? So certain legal words bring about different meaning compared to our everyday use of English. There is a chance of misunderstanding by a layperson if they decide to read a legal text, which is why it's called a legal ambiguity. The legal text usually use long and complicated sentences, which will reduce clarity of the text if not trained in the legal field. Yes. Hi, so we've talked about legal ambiguity, and some of you might be wondering, why should we even bother with legal text? And we should leave it to the lawyers. To that I say no. There is an important reasons why we should learn legal language. There's 2 things I would like to highlight. The first one is it influences real life decisions. Legal documents, it affects our everyday life, such as our employment, our housing, our contracts, any type of business transaction. The law binds them. So people need to understand legal text to make informed decisions. If we don't understand the legal text, which could lead to legal ambiguity, we could make wrong decisions, which could affect our lives. And the second thing I would like to highlight is build public trust in the legal system. When legal documents are easier to understand by the public, people are more likely to trust the legal institution and court decisions, and transparency promotes confidence in the justice system.
In this section, I will discuss about 3 legal terms that may be difficult for non-readers to understand. The terms are presumption, admissible, and prima facie case. These terms actually has a straightforward meaning, but however, it actually might differ from everyday usage because it has specialized meanings in law. The first term is presumption. In legal context, a presumption refers to an assumption that the court accepts as true unless it is disproved by evidence. In the document, the court states that an officer shall be presumed to have used his office or position for gratification unless the contrary is proved. A non-legal reader may misunderstand this and think that the accused has already been found guilty. But however, the professionals or the lawyers actually understand that a presumption is only a starting point, which means that it still can be challenged and rebutted. In prima facie case, this Latin phrase may be unfamiliar to ordinary readers. In the document, the court states that a prima facie case has been made out against the accused. Many people may interpret this as meaning that the accused has already been proven guilty. However, in a legal practice, a prima facie case simply means that the prosecution has presented enough evidence for the case to proceed and the accused to be called to make a defense. It does not mean that the final decision has been reached. In everyday English, admissible means allowed or acceptable. However, in legal context, it refers specifically to evidence that is legally permitted to be considered for the court. For example, the document repeatedly states that the certain documents are admissible in evidence. An ordinary reader may assume that admissible evidence is automatically reliable or convincing. However, for legal professionals, they distinguish between admissibility and weight. Overall, legal professionals interpret these terms differently from ordinary readers. Understanding their specialized meaning is essential to interpret legal documents.
Hi everyone, my name is Mai Han and my metric number is 22304846. I'm going to analyze the modalities and complex structure. We're going to dive into some words that may seem perfectly ordinary in the daily life, but actually they may carry immense weight in the legal world. They are modal verbs. So as we can see from the slide, we're going to explore the hidden power of modals, which are shall, may, and must. And I'm going to begin with the first word, shall. We often use this word in this sentence, like shall we go? But actually, it is very ambiguous in the law because it usually equals to must in law, which creates mandatory obligation. And because it usually implies future intent or permission, so it usually causes disputes. The next word, may. It is all about permission and discretion. It usually permits an action or grants the power, but it doesn't mean that they require or guarantee to take action. So for example, like this sentence, a court may do something. That means the court has its choice to do or not to do. It didn't require to take action. So this word may often frustrate those people who seek certainty. And the last word, must. This word, it is a compulsory requirement, which means that it leaves no room for compliance variance. For example, it is often used for procedural conditions, which means that it must be met before anything can happen. Next, to see how this model operates in practice, let's look at a case study that perfectly illustrates the illusion of choice. Let's consider this specific legal clause. The MLA documents may be admitted as evidence. The layperson's assumption here is simple and optimistic. They see an official MLA document, so they assume that because it is valid, the court will surely and 100% accept it as evidence. However, the legal reality is entirely different. Because the drafter used the word may, the court is only given the power to accept it, meaning that the judge retains the absolute discretion to reject it. So this is the subtle trap of legal language. One single word can completely shift the result, and it may turn a guarantee into probability and leave ordinary people with nothing but an illusion of choice. So that's all from my part. Thank you.
Okay, in this section, I will explain how plain English principles can improve legal texts and make them easier for ordinary readers to understand. Traditional legal English is often difficult to understand because it contains formal expressions, legalese, and long complex sentence structure. The plain language movement encourages legal writing to become clear and more accessible by using simpler vocabulary and a shorter sentence without changing the original legal meaning. Okay, for example, in our legal text, the phrase "upon a consideration of" was simplified into "after looking at another expression ought to be given" was changed to should be. These original expressions should highly formal and are rarely used in everyday communication, so ordinary readers may struggle to understand them quickly, and these simplified versions are shorter, more direct, and easier to read. In addition, some repetitive legal wording was simplified. For example, relating to matter pertaining to was reduced to simply relative to. This removes redundancy while still preserving the intended legal meaning. And another issue in legal writing is the use of long sentence with stacked clause. For instance, the original sentence contains the phrase combinations made between the relevant prosecution witness and the person who cannot be found. In the simplified version, this was shortened to communication between the witness and the missing persons. This made the main idea clear and reduced unnecessary complexity. All in all, simplifying legal language is important because it improves accessibility for lay persons and non-legal readers. It helps the public understand legal rights and responsibilities more clearly, which also reducing confusing ambiguity and possible misinterpretation. Therefore, plain English plays an important role in making legal communication clear, more effective, and easier for society to understand.
Hello everyone, my name is Liu Jiayue. My metric number is 2310737. I will conclude our presentation by evaluating the importance of reducing ambiguity in legal language. Based on our analysis of the DSM prosecution case summary, legal language plays an important role in ensuring accuracy, consistency, and certainty in legal interpretation. However, legal texts often contain specialized terminology and complex expressions that may be difficult for ordinary readers to understand. For example, the phrase, "He shall be presumed to have used his office or position for gratification," may sound highly technical to non-legal readers. Well, legal professionals understand that it creates a legal presumption. Many members of the public may not fully understand its legal effect. Therefore, also legal precision is necessary. Excessive complexity can create barriers to understanding. Throughout our analysis, we found several sources of legal ambiguity. These include legal terms such as presumption, prima facie case, and admissible. We also discussed modal verbs like shall and may, which have specific legal meanings. In addition, long and complex sentences can make legal text difficult for ordinary readers to understand. In conclusion, legal language is necessary for accuracy and legal certainty. However, overly complex language can reduce public understanding. Using plain English can make legal information clear and more accessible while keeping the original meaning. Legal language is important for accuracy, but clear language helps ordinary people better understand the law and their rights. Okay, that's all. Thank you.